A federal appeals court delivered a major legal blow today, ruling that the sweeping tariffs imposed by President Trump, particularly those based on emergency powers, were illegal. In a 7-4 decision, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit in Washington, D.C., found that Trump exceeded his authority under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act (IEEPA), which does not explicitly grant the ability to levy tariffs. The court held that Congress likely did not intend to entrust the president with such unchecked power. Yet, despite this legal setback, the tariffs will remain in effect for now. The court issued a stay, allowing the administration to continue applying them until October 14. This delay provides time for appeals and possible escalation to the Supreme Court. The tariff measures at issue include those dubbed Liberation Day tariffs, which established a 10% baseline on virtually all U.S. trading partners, as well as reciprocal and trafficking-related tariffs tied to countries such as Canada, China, and Mexico. Trump justified these sweeping measures by pointing to trade imbalances and national emergencies, including drug trafficking and immigration concerns. Legal experts say the ruling underscores the limits of executive power and reinforces the role of Congress in trade matters. The court emphasized that when Congress delegates authority, it does so clearly, using explicit language like tariff or duty. IEEPA lacks such specificity, and the court found its invocation in this context unprecedented. Businesses and state governments had challenged the tariffs, arguing they caused harm and lacked sufficient legal backing. One case, VOS. Selections, Inc. vs. United States, consolidated small importers with 12 states, including Oregon. In May, the U.S. Court of International Trade ruled in their favor, permanently blocking the tariffs and finding they exceeded presidential authority. The appeals court's latest decision effectively upheld that finding, though the stay preserves the tariffs for now. Reactions have been swift and varied. President Trump criticized the ruling, calling it a total disaster for the country, and denouncing the court as highly partisan. He vowed to continue the fight, saying he expected a favorable outcome from the Supreme Court. On the other side, advocates for the ruling applauded the court's decision. Democratic officials welcomed what they called a crucial check on executive overreach. Meanwhile, legal analysts suggested that the decision could reshape how future presidents approach tariff power, stressing the importance of legislative clarity and constitutional balance. Economic and political ripples are already being felt. Market watchers have flagged increased uncertainty and possible volatility, especially on the approach to October 14. If the Supreme Court declines to take up the case, or rules against Trump, the tariffs could be dismantled, affecting trade strategies, revenue, and international relations. Ultimately, this appeals court ruling represents a momentous pushback against unilateral executive authority in trade. It affirms that emergency powers have limits and that Congress must speak clearly when it intends to delegate such sweeping responsibilities. As the case heads potentially toward the Supreme Court, the nation waits to see whether those checks on power or executive ambition will prevail.